Land Army back in 1945. The Land Army was a workforce made up of over 75% female labour. The men were away fighting in the armed forces throughout the Second World War. Through the bridge to your left here is a large white building with a domed roof and flagpole. This is Somerset House. It was originally built to serve as the residence for the Dukes and Earls of Somerset. They, however, would never get to live inside the building. They were all found to be traitors to the throne and executed under the orders of King Edward VIII. Today the building serves a very sinister purpose. It's now the headquarters of one of the largest criminal organisations in the country, HMRC, the taxman. On the right, a large concrete structure with a flashing sign, the National Theatre, made up of 3 separate theatres, the Littleton, Dorfman, the 1400-seater Lord Olivier theatres. It's also been described by several of the country's leading architects as being one of the ugliest looking buildings. Charles, in an interview, once described the National Theatre as resembling the back end to a nuclear power station. So clearly not very... Here on the left, we're going to see a large white boat with a cream funnel. This is the Wellington, a former member of the Royal New Zealand Navy. She would serve throughout the Second World War as a support and rescue ship. Decommissioned after her military service, donated to the British Royal Navy. She's laid here in London ever since. There's a big floating drinking hall for old retired sea captains. Their president for many years was a man called Prince Philip, the former Duke of Edinburgh, of course our late Queen's husband. At the back of the Wellington, the large stone archway there is the Temple Gates, the official dividing boundary between 2 cities. The city of Westminster, which we have now left, the 1 square mile city of London. We have now left. London itself, the city of London anyway, is one of the smallest capital cities in the world, covering an area of just 1 square mile. The boundary marks are the same there, all the way along the north side of our river, down to Tower Bridge, its easternmost boundary. Take a look on the right here, we've got a red building with a stone spire, glass letters OXO. The building's officially called Stanford Wharf, but it's better known in London as the Oxo Tower. It was once their headquarters and factory for the Oxo Gravy Stock Cube Company. Every night a red light shines in the tower there. The word Oxo can be seen lit up all across the banks of our river, effectively advertising the company's products. However, you're not allowed to do this on the Thames. The river is deemed a royal highway and has some of the strictest advertisement laws in the country. Due to the strict laws, a very lengthy court battle would take place over the building. The Oxo company would eventually win, and today it's a grade 2 listed structure, which means it can never legally be demolished. The exterior must also not be changed. Now, crossing over to your left here, folks, we're going to see a white building with a green roof and a spire at the top, and that is the site for the old City of London School for Boys. Over the years, lots of our former Prime Ministers and elder statesmen have started their education in the building here, most notably a man we're probably all familiar with by the name of Sir Winston Spencer Churchill, Minister. Now today the building's no longer a school, it's now an office complex owned by JP Morgan. The new school's been moved a little bit further downstream, just through the 2 bridges here. Now these 2 bridges in front of us, the first one is Blackfriars Road Bridge, opened in 1869 by Queen Victoria. As we pass beneath this bridge, take a look on both sides of the boat here, and we will see 8 large red support columns that stick out of the riverbed. These are the remains to the Alexandra St Paul's Railway Bridge, which was designed by Brunel, the Victorian engineer, used to support the Chatham to Dover railway lines. Today though, the top half of the bridge became unstable in the 80s and was demolished. Some of these old columns though, they've been used to widen the next bridge we have here, Blackfriars Railway Bridge. This bridge was widened in 2012 and they would build a new train station on top of it, Blackfriars National Rail. Now, having a look on your right here, folks, you can see a large brick building there with a tall chimney stack. That is the site for the old Bankside power station. Now, originally this was an oil-burning power station, and due to the higher cost of oil, it was forced to close down. Today it serves as the home for the Tate Modern Art Gallery. The Tate Modern is completely free for all to enter. You pay nothing for the admission. And after walking around the building for about 5 minutes, you do tend to understand why. Inside you'll find exhibits such as unmade beds, light bulbs that flicker on and off, and piles of empty beer cans. If there's anyone on board the boat interested in seeing anything like that, you're more than welcome to come round my house. I won't charge you either. If you prefer more traditional art though, there's a lovely view on the left of the light grey dome and the golden cross of St Paul's Cathedral. Sir Christopher Wren's masterpiece. The cathedral took over 35 years to build and was finished construction in the year 1710. It's also the second largest unsupported cathedral dome in the world. Now we're going to pass beneath the Millennium Footbridge now, which was designed by an architect called Sir Norman Foster, opened in January year 2000. When this bridge first opened, it was unstable, violently shaking from side to side like a rope bridge in the jungle, earning the bridge the nickname the Wibbly Wobbly Bridge. On the right here, we have a white circular building with the oak beams and the thatched roof. This is a replica to William Shakespeare's Globe Playhouse Theatre. It was built largely by the efforts of an American film producer called Sam Wanamaker back in 1997. You can visit the Globe Theatre today and watch any one of Shakespeare's plays being reenacted. It's also the only building in London allowed to be constructed from timber and thatch since our Great Fire of 1666. On our left here, we've got a white building with 4 pillars. That's called Vintners Place. Headquarters for the Vintners Company of London. They were the old wine merchants. Now, I've been told, folks, that all wine, port, brandy, to be imported into the country must first be sent to the building for taste testing before it's allowed to go on sale. So the people who work in there, they will spend Monday to Friday 8 hours a day drinking alcohol. What a horrible job. Someone has to do it. We're going to pass beneath the Southwark Road Bridge now. And as we do, look ahead of you to your right, we're going to see a brown brick house with some red painted window frames. This is the Anchor Tavern, Bankside. This Thameside tavern is over 400 years old. William Shakespeare used to take his actors into the attic of the tavern to use it as a dressing room before performing their plays in the original Globe Theatre, which stood nearby in Park Street. For some strange reason, the original Globe didn't have any dressing rooms. Now we're going to pass beneath the Cannon Street Railway Bridge, and as we do, take a look ahead of you to your right hand side. We'll see a real life pirate ship in Whetstone. It's a fully working replica of Sir Francis Drake's galleon, the Golden Hind, and that lies in the St Mary Overy, Whetstone. Sir Francis Drake was a privateer, a licensed pirate. He was also the first Englishman to sail around the world, which he did in about 3 years. On his return, he brought his ship back completely full of Spanish gold. The gold was gifted to the Queen and then used to clear the country's national debt. He was knighted at the Queen's Stairs in Deptford. Although the ship we see there today is a replica, it's done more sea miles than the original. It's been around the world twice, taking the exact same passage Drake would have taken. On your right here, folks, we can see, on your left here, folks, we can see the top of a large white column, golden top piece. That's the monument to the Great Fire of London of 1666. which was designed by Wren to resemble a wax candle. Lay the monument down easterly, the golden top piece strikes the point where the fire was believed to have started. Once small baker shop in Pudding Lane. The next bridge we're going to pass beneath is London Bridge. A London Bridge has stood on, or very close to this site, for almost 2,000 years. The first one was built by the Romans back in the year 43 AD. The bridge we have here today is the fourth one, opened by our late Queen, Queen Elizabeth II in 1973. Through the bridge here, look up to your right, we can see a large glass skyscraper. This is the Shard. It's the tallest building in Western Europe, 1,016 feet high, designed by an Italian architect called Renzo Piano. Now in the Shard, folks, you can find bars, restaurants, office space, apartments, even a 6-star hotel called the Shangri-La. On the 72nd floor of the building, they have a viewing gallery, which they call the View from the Shard. However, to go up to it, you will be charged a fee of about £28.50 just to get in a lift and look out of a window. It's not really worth it if you ask me, in my opinion. That is on the left here. A skyscraper that gets wider as it gets taller. That building's called Number 10 Church Street, better known as the Walkie Talkie. On the top floor of the building they have a botanical garden called the Sky Garden of London, which is free to go up to. They even have 2 bars and a restaurant up there. With the £28.50 you save while going in the Shard, you can go to the Sky Garden and get yourself half a lager and a packet of peanuts, if you're lucky anyway. Now on the right hand side here, we've got 2 warships tied up alongside each other. The larger of the 2 on the inside there. This is the C-35 HMS Belfast, a Southampton-class cruiser, which was built in the same shipyards in Belfast, Northern Ireland as the Titanic, the Harland and Wolff shipyards. She was launched on St Patrick's Day 1938, serving throughout the Second World War and the War of Korea in the 50s. Today permanently moored in London as an add-on to the Imperial War Museum. Moored up alongside the Belfast, you have a Brazilian naval vessel. She came into London earlier on this morning. We get quite a few of these warships here in London. This summer alone we've had vessels visiting from Germany, Belgium, the Netherlands, India, Japan. They all get moored up alongside the Belfast here. That's the Norman's Keep, White Tower, built under the reign of William the Conqueror back in the year 1078. The tower has served many purposes over its lifetime, most infamously though, as a state prison, place of torture and execution. Traitors of nobility would have been rowed through the once open archway on the river's wall that reads entry to the Traitors' Gate. They would then be imprisoned inside the Bloody Tower before eventually being dragged up to the Tower Hill behind the castle to have their heads chopped off via a rusty axe. The Traitors' Gate today now remains permanently bricked up, and this is to prevent the river from flooding the tower's moats. And ahead of us here we have Tower Bridge. Tower Bridge was designed by a man